what do you see with all of your work when you go to be with Jesus? I mean, what do you hope to have accomplished?
Well, it's difficult to say. I don't know. I don't know when we're with Jesus whether we'll use the talk of having accomplished anything ourselves at all. I think, it's like Paul planted, Apollos watered, but, it is God who gives the growth. I will hope that through some of the things I've said and done and conversations I've had, that Christ himself will have sown some seeds in and through me. My friend, the poet, the great Irish poet Micheál O'Shiel, was once asked whether he thought his poetry sowed gospel seeds. And he kind of almost shook back and said, "Oh, goodness me." He said, "No, he said, if you're referring to the parable of the sower," he said, I take it that Jesus is both the sower and the sown, that the word is both the one who sows and the seed that is sown. But he said, I noticed that that parable pays a great deal of attention to the soil and the kind and quality of the soil. And he says, what I hope my poetry or any arts do is it's like taking clumped up stony soil and putting in a griddle and shaking it about and getting the stones out. He says, I hope at best my poetry may have jostled the soil of the imagination, so that when the sower himself comes and who is also the seed, it finds some good ground. And I think that's pretty much what I'd hope to say for myself as well, that I jostled the soil of the imagination. But I think it's Jesus who makes Christians.
Oh, that's a very, very good point. You've traveled both between North America and the UK. What are the differences that you've seen in the Christian expression?
Well, I mean, the most obvious one is that in as far as church going and public and Christian expression is concerned, America is the more Christian country. We're more secularized. But paradoxically, because of the separation of state and church in America, America can officially seem more atheist, even though it's actually more full of thriving Christian communities. On the other hand, England can seem more Christian because our monarch is the head of the church, and because we have chaplains in universities and we have vicars going into schools, So we have a little bit more of the remnants of Christendom. Mm-hmm. And I think, there's some ways maybe America could learn from that, but actually we could learn from America about being a lot more upfront and clear as Christians about our faith and happier to share it without embarrassment.
What do you think the future is of Christianity in the UK?
Well, at the moment, my own beloved denomination, the Church of England, is in numerical decline. My view about numerical decline is these things come and go, and Jesus started with 12. So even if we're only down to 12 in England, that'll be enough to kickstart the whole thing again. So I'm not panicking, I think revival will come, but I think it may be quite a long time coming. And I think it may take forms that the present church doesn't recognize. We have a phrase that the church uses here, fresh expressions of church. And there may be some fresh expressions of church. I think they're going to be more grounded. I think they're going to be more local. I think they're going to be very much concerned with people having to be resilient and live together through the changes that are coming environmentally, if not anything else, and I think we're going to have to return to a simpler and more closely communal way of living. And that's the very way of living in which Christianity spread through England in the first place. So I think that might be quite good for us, actually. Well, anyway, I'm afraid my time is coming to an end. That's what that.
No, that's okay. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a joy. I mean, there's so much that I don't even feel like we've touched the surface. I've watched many of your videos, read your books. I know we're not even skimming the top of all of the things that you've done. What's a final thought that you can leave with our listeners based upon your book, Lifting the Veil?
Well, I think I would say your imagination is part of the image of God in you. Now, like all of us in the fall, it's shadowed, it has its dark side, but it must be brought back into the light and to Jesus. We don't war against the imagination. We baptize and bring it in as part of the heart and soul and mind. And if you want to strengthen and feed and develop your imagination, then get out there and love and enjoy the arts. Listen to music, hear great songs, read poems, read novels, make time for those things. And remember, that's not some private diversion. That's about finding out how things really are.